Now they did that pretty well. But this, come on. And those are pretty good. But these are just ridiculous. They did them proper. Oh, you know that made some people mad. I don't know. What do you guys think? What do I think? I'll tell you what I think. The game got shown some love today, and we were in dire need of some love. Patch 1.12 went live today, and I've been here since they hit the green button on it. I gave them the day to kind of hammer out some details, fix some issues, and then I came up with my conclusion. Now I'm not going to go over all the patch notes. We all have this in our inbox. I'm not going to read it piece by piece and go through and show what they did. I'm mainly going to focus on what they ninja'd in, what they didn't mention or slid underneath us, and kind of focus on some details of certain features and heroes in the game. Now, one of the things I do like, I'll show you. We'll go in here. This is the pre-battle screen. Now, for months and months now, I'm in 12-3 Brutal. I'm grinding food. You know, I've got all my 1-star level 10s up here at the front. Then I go to Clan Boss or something, and I got to scroll through all this mess to find my heroes that I use. Not no more. Now we've got a filter and ranking system. Whenever I want to get my good heroes, just filter by rank. Boom. All my 6 stars up front and center. Love it. Speaking of something that I've been mentioning that we've needed for months and months, the gear inventory filtering. It's not on here. This is something that we've drastically and desperately need in the game for oh so long. It's something that can help the players work on gearing their heroes for all this different content that we've got, different team building. You know, you can't build one hero to tackle everything and just be the best at it. So, you know, when you're building a hero, it's already hard enough to build them where they can be used in multiple areas. But now we got to go through multiple sets of gear just to find the appropriate gear for them. Quite complicated, to say the least. And quite stressful. But there's still time. 2019 ain't over. Now that we've got the filtering out the way, let's talk shop. Something else that, you know, can be shown a little love and make the player base happy. Now they added some packs. One major pack that we've all seen and glanced at, or at least heard of through the grapevine, are these book packs. These are outrageous. They've got deals out there for 7 of these epic and legendary books, and gems, and silver, and all that, $100. In the shop, 4 books, $100 flat, no extras. And, you know, they had an opportunity to set the bar here, to kind of set the price, the going rate. And I must say that they well overshot it. They well overvalued themselves. Now, that being said, I tend to spend a little bit. And even I don't never go into this bank tab. There's nothing in this bank tab for me. This is for mega whales and krakens. So I guess they did put it at least in the right category. I won't have to see it no more. But at the same time, under daily and progression tabs, they got the daily gem pack. The daily gem pack, it's not bad. You get 2140 gems, 2,140 gems over a 30-day period, with most payouts being between 50 and 60 gems a day, and a major payout on day 1, 15, and 30. That's kind of cool. I like the math on that. They broke that down. It's a $53, $54 value for $10. Can't beat it. Now, for the impatient people, they might not be too happy with that, but it's definitely worth its value. Something else that they did was they revamped the Ascension packs, the Epic and Legendary Ascension packs. Now they're called Power-Up packs. They've got two of them. Power Up Pack 1, Power Up Pack 2. Now this Power Up Pack 1, the gems value at about $18, and they offer 3 epic books in the epic Power Up Pack version. And you pay about $4 each for those, and the other stuff's extra. So you don't get any extra value. It's not a deal. It's not a, anything leaning towards great value. But to be honest, neither was the Ascension packs. Are they necessarily good? No, they're not. They're not deals. What they are is packs. You get a certain amount of this, that, or the other, broke down, and you pay a certain dollar amount for it. Now, the way that I calculate packs is I pay a dollar for every 40 gems, and I take that total out of the pack, and then I estimate what the value of the rest of the items are. So for the Power Up Pack 1, you get the $18 in gems, and then you get the 3 books for about $4 each. It's not bad, not great, no added benefits to it, but not bad. For the Power Up Pack 2, it's a little different. They also have the $18 in gems, an XP banner, which is about $1 or $2 maybe, depending on how you value those. So you buy the chickens for about $2.50 each. They're 4-star chickens. I don't know. You decide. And again, the rest are just extras. Now, lastly, is the Black Friday pack. It's an insta buy. It's been all the rage and talk today. If you spend any money for $10, you get good bang for your dollar. That's for sure. Even without the shards, it's a great value. The shards, they're a little extra gamble. You could get chickens. You could get Legos. Don't know. It's up to you. But even without the shards, to me, they're worth it. All right, now let's talk a little bit about Arena. It's kind of the big hype. It's one of the major additions to the game. Now they've added in the Platinum tier. And this morning when it went live, it was, 3,200 points or something like that to get into Platinum. But as the 300 slots fill up, the bottom person is the one that decides the necessary points to get into Platinum. So right now, it's 3512. It's kind of interesting. But that ain't actually what I'm here to talk to you about. What I want to talk about is the leaderboard. I think that the leaderboard's a great addition. It adds a little competitive value to the arena. It lets people really gauge where they're at, who they're up against. Are they fighting one of the top players? Pretty interesting. As well as it lets us see their teams, so it can kind of be like a meta test. Let you know what can really manage throughout multiple battles across multiple different comps that they fight. And as we go through here looking, we kind of see a lot of the same heroes. Seems like the meta is still kind of defined by Unkillable and Speed. Might actually give a little feedback to the developers, give them something to work on. So all in all, not bad. Kind of interesting, to say the least. Alright, well, besides that, some other little things that they snuck into the game on us. We have all seen that we can buy mastery scrolls. You go up into the mastery page, and you can click on these little pluses up here and buy scrolls. It's pretty cool. Whether you're trying to get your first team together and you don't want to spend a couple weeks grinding them, and you just want to cash out and buy a hero's max scrolls, or you're late game and you've stacked up so many gems you're not pulling shards no more really, you're just working on your heroes and you just want to knock this hero out and put him to work. It's cool. I can say that I have a positive feedback on this feature. But what I don't like is that they've split the reset to where now you reset individual trees. And when you do, Bad O, I ain't had to reset him. But when you do, I think I've reset a Cult Brawler. Anyways, you now have to pay the $150 per tree. And that's not something I'm too excited about. That's definitely not something I like. Um, I feel like it's one of Polarium's sneaky money grab tactics. Not too happy about that. The cost to change master should stay the same. Another addition to the game is on each boss, they've now added an icon, an additional icon. And I like this. I feel like it was a good implementation. Now, when you go in and you fight a boss, you can see what they're immune to. And seeming that each dungeon boss has its own little, niche where you can't hit it with turn meter reduction, or you can't hit it with heal reduction, or, something like that, then now they have an icon to describe that. Pretty cool. I like that. They also mention that they optimized the battle engine. As I'm sure we can all really tell, the flow of battles are smoother and faster, and without actually speeding up any run times. They didn't just increase the speed of everything. They literally made it flow faster. I like this. Matter of fact, I'm impressed. And to be honest, it adds value to Raid's most attractive feature out in the mobile market, their superior graphics. There's plenty of games out there whose developers are more interactive with their player base or bring in fresh content on a regular basis. But Raid has the superior graphics, the detail. It doesn't look all cartoonish and, made for more of a younger crowd. They have some real nice detailed graphics. Okay, so I like that. Okay, now let's move on to some of the hero fixes and rebalancing. The first one up is Lissandra. Her AI fix has turned her into an auto spider queen. She now uses her A2 exhaustion on the spider and fully depletes the turn meter. Now, fully depletes is completely different than depletes 100%. The spider stacks up more than 100% turn meter as it waits for all the spiderlings in your team to go. So by fully depleting it, wipes it clean out, and she uses it on auto. So now she can be relied upon to get that turn meter down for your Arbiter auto missions when you're creating your Spider 20 auto teams. Very nice. Another bug that's been popping up for some people is that when Giant Slayer, War Master, or even during counterattack procs, some hero skills don't activate, such as Veterans A2. Small, but it places a 30% crit rate on all allies if target is killed. Well, if a War Master or Giant Slayer, in this case War Master proc, is what killed the enemy, it wouldn't proc. They fixed that. As well as Altan's passive. When he attacked on a counterattack, and if it killed an enemy, it wouldn't revive an ally. They fixed that. Very nice. Very considerate. Another kind of little addition that they did is Basilisk. When he used to die, he'd revive and get a block damage buff put on him. But if you wasn't familiar with Basilisk kit, you wouldn't know that because the buff above him, above his HP bar, was invisible. You wouldn't even know. You would attack him, and it would say resisted or, block damage or whatever. You wouldn't have no idea why. They fixed that. Looks like they fixed quite a few things. And getting around to the more important fix, or the most impactful, shall I say, is they fixed, and it's a fix, Maneater's A2, Siphon. Once ascended, he fully depletes the turn meter of the enemy and fills the champion's turn. It fills his own turn meter by equal to the amount the target lost. Now, in Clan Boss, it wouldn't deplete any of the turn meter, but it would still fill his own. And that was a major part of the 2x Maneater unkillable comp. So they fixed this now. So as quite a bit of you woke up today and realized Your unkillable comp didn't work no more. Your 2 times man-eater unkillable comp did not work anymore. I'm sure there was quite a bit of salt out there about this. It's been mentioned. We've all known it was coming, but they kind of snuck it in there without us really even know. Um, and, so I'm sure that there was quite a few people out there quite a bit irritated. But never fear, I'm actually working on a budget unkillable comp right now. Video will be coming out soon. So feel free to hit that sub button down there. Turn on your notifications. I will make sure that I mention budget unkillable comp in the title, and you will know when it's out. Alright, so moving on from that, we have some actual buffs and a nerf. So let's go ahead and get into that. First one is Solus. I believe that Solus is a Night Rev. There we go. There's a Solus. His A2, it got an AoE provoke. Oh my god. Just realized. This is not updated. His A2, I'm sorry. It's his A3. His A3 is now an AoE that places a provoke on all enemies for a turn. AoE provoke is very nice in certain areas of the game, like arena and dungeon waves and stuff like that. So very nice addition. Another one that they fixed, that they buffed, is War Mother. Now there's still debate to be had about this one, but she now has a 100% chance to proc 50% decrease attack on her A1, making her a very reliable attack down hero. Now, the rest of her kit doesn't exactly scream use me, but I actually know someone that had ran her this morning and pulled 4 million on Nightmare Clan Boss with an attack down hero. That's respectable. And that's where her next buff comes in. Her A2, that places the 2 bomb debuffs, it also increased the damage by 100% against bosses. So between that, her War Master procs, she can do some respectable damage. Is she top tier? Probably not. But if you lack a reliable attack down hero, she'll put in some work for you. Still yet to be tested by myself, but the person who ran it this morning was a fairly reputable source. Alright, now the next person, or the next hero that got a buff would be Excruciator. Now when Excruciator came out, she was an event reward hero, and needless to say, she was very underwhelming, very basic. Definitely not the flagship of Veil heroes, which she is a Veil hero. But she got some love today. On her A1, it heals her when she's not under Veil. It heals herself by 25%, which is close to a lifesteal. Put her in lifesteal, and that's about 50% of the over 50% of the damage she heals herself. So, very decent. And her A2 got a respectable buff as well. When she's under a Veil buff and kills an enemy, they cannot be revived. That makes her very possible to be a nice Golem hero. And Golem 20 is Spirit, and she's Magic. So the affinities line up there. Very nice as well. And then she has, a Veil passive, which gives her a little bit, as an attack hero, gives her a little sustain, survivability during the trash waves. So she went from a 0 to possibly a usable hero. Very happy. Now, someone that I had to take a second look at, I wasn't even sure if he was even usable, would be Grimskin. Grimskin got a possibly decent little hit, or little buff, I'm sorry. They made him defense scaling, which is always nice in today's hero meta, but also gave him a possible AoE provoke buff. His A2 attacks 2 times, and then each hit has a 50% chance of placing the provoke. That can be booked up to 70% chance. So there's a fairly good chance that provoke will hit 70% on a 2 hit. Very probable. And then it has, as an additional effect, 40% chance, they could be booked up to 60% chance of placing an AoE provoke if the first provoke landed. So a good chance of placing the first provoke, and then a pretty good chance of going AoE provoke. And as I mentioned earlier with Solus, AoE provoke is pretty good in certain areas of the game, like Arena and Dungeon Waves. So between that and defense scaling, and he's got a good decreased speed debuff on his A1 and a remove buff on his A2, which is good for Magic Keep. He has a pretty good kit now. He might see some use. With a good solid base defense and a good solid base speed, he's a respectable hero now. And our last hero to actually discuss is actually a nerf. Oh, wrong one. And one that I'm kind of happy to see myself. It's good old Rain Beast, the jolly red-nosed reindeer. His passive is when an ally is attacked, place a shield buff equal to 35% of this champion's max HP on that ally for 2 turns. And what they added on is this will not place a shield buff on this champion. That's the nerf. It's an addition to the skill, but it's a nerf. Because I've restarted quite a few accounts, and every time when I'm in early bronze and sometimes even silver arena, a solo Rain Beast is near impossible for a fairly early game, even some mid game free to play, unlucky roster players to beat. He's just so tough. You pump him up with speed and HP, this shield will keep him alive, and he'll just even if he don't wipe your team, he will stall you to where you rage quit and lose the battle. So all in all, I am pretty happy to see this nerf. It balanced him well. He's no longer a hero that an early game player can pull and just kind of rise through the ranks in the arena because his defense doesn't lose. So all in all, not bad. Now, the last thing I want to cover is the Nightmare campaign. Let me go ahead and get into that. I'm only going to touch on it as the edition as a whole needs more testing and stuff like that. Some bugs knocked loose. But I do want to express how I feel so far. First off, Stage 1, Map 1, 16 energy. I'm sure we've all had our thoughts on this. 16 energy, especially this early in the map, it's quite heavy. But all in all, let's hope it's more worthwhile later on, for potential XP grinding and gear grinding, gear farming for sure. But that leads us to the next point. Drops. We got 16 energy per run, and the stages drop 3-star to 6-star gear. Now the pattern that's been throughout the difficulties of campaign was it 1 to 3, 2 to 4, 3 to 5, 4 to 6. Oh no, that would be this level. It's 3 to 6. It should be 4 to 6. That's kind of the pattern that's been going. We've got expensive energy costs here. Just go ahead and drop them 3-star pieces off of our loot pool. They ain't necessary. Speaking of drops, not that this is that big of a deal or that it's absolutely necessary, but with the new campaign difficulty, I was really looking forward to some new drops for the miscellaneous drop area. Possibly some new heroes, maybe there's some voids in there, and maybe some additional items that actually drop. Again, we have 16 energy costs. That's more than most dungeons. That is more than the dungeons. And yet the dungeons drop ancient shards. I would like to know if there's any common sense counterpoint to why ancient shards for 16 energy a run shouldn't drop from campaign. If you do have a counterpoint, leave them down in the comments. I'd like to read those. But, so no new drops. kind of disappointing to say the least. But it wasn't exactly something, that I expected. All those things being said, they did give us some very nice star completion bonuses. I went through my first set already, or first two sets, I'm sorry. And they've got 100 gems, million silver, 5 ancient shards. That was nice. We've got the sacred shard at the end. So definitely happy with 6-star speed artifact. Love that. Um, Definitely happy with the star completion rewards. Those were very nice. Was very very happy with those. Um, but after seeing all this, I kind of feel like the only thing that people will do with Nightmare Campaign, at least from what I see, is that they're going to come through 3 star as much as they can, 3-star the whole thing, get the rewards, and maybe if they're not at the end game dungeons, farm some gear. Like it's Nightmare Campaign's really good for like a mostly built team of heroes from like a regular players roster, maybe a light spender, maybe a small dolphin, something like that, who hasn't made it to end game content to come through and farm some gear pieces for like I don't know, crit rate gloves, 6-star crit rate gloves. I haven't opened up the speed palace yet, but maybe some speed boots, some speed set pieces, life steal pieces, just the very basics. In other words, I kind of feel like there ain't much to be had from the Nightmare campaign. Um, Especially with how difficult I've seen that it is towards the end. There's really not much there for the energy cost, the investment, the heroes required, the strategy, the fact that you can't really farm. At least you can't solo farm like we have been for many, 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 many months now on 12.3 Brutal. You can't solo farm this without literally the top tier, most broken heroes. So they really didn't give us much reason to be in Nightmare Campaign. I feel like for at least a while, until either they bring um, the next power creep, the next level, 7-star heroes. We just got 6-star gear, but 7-star gear, I don't know, something to really up the level of power in the game. No one's going to be here grinding XP, which is the main attraction for campaign. It's all about the completion rewards, maybe some gear pieces, and just to say I did it. That's it. So, you know, there's been some good, some bad, some ugly, and some hidden additions to the game with the patch 1.12. All in all, I'm happy. I didn't get everything I felt the game needed. Didn't get everything I wanted. But it's definitely a step in the right direction. Showed the game some love, some much needed love. And at least once the crashes and bugs and all the content gets figured out, we'll have something to to go out there and put all the heroes we pull, all the builds and comps and investments that we make in the game, we'll have something to put it out on. Platinum Tier Arena, Nightmare Campaign, Faction Wars got readjusted. I've yet to do too much into Faction Wars, that's why I didn't touch on it. But it did seem like it was, it got a proper readjustment. And some quality of life changes. I had big hype for patch 1.12. I thought it was going to be the biggest thing to happen to Raid since I started playing. And you know what? It probably is. Not necessarily because it's so great, but because they did most of it proper. They really put some additions in the game that we needed. Not everything. There needs to be a 1.13, and fairly soon, I would hope. Some things like maybe making campaign a little more attractive to late game players, other than just saying I did it. And the gear inventory filtering is a must, an absolute must. I really hope I see that in the next patch, and I hope it happens soon. And I'm not the only one to think that. along with some login rewards and other things that people mentioned. Those are on my wish list, but not towards the top. Um, I feel that we could be heading in a very healthy direction for the game. So I hope you guys are happy with it. I spoke my piece, told you what I thought, pointed out a few things that maybe some of you didn't recognize or pick up on. And please stay tuned in for the next community update. Until next time, happy grinding, and may the shards break in your favor.